Every single night when the world goes quiet and their psychological defenses lower, they're overwhelmed by an aching awareness of your absence that feels like physical pain. In those dark hours between consciousness and sleep, they feel your presence so intensely it's as if you're lying right next to them. But their terror of vulnerability keeps them paralyzed in their longing. They're drowning in need for you while being completely unable to reach across the distance their own fear created. The nighttime vulnerability window. When darkness falls and their daily distractions fade away, avoidants lose their ability to maintain emotional numbness and suddenly feel everything they've been suppressing about you. The night becomes their torture chamber, where suppressed feelings rise to the surface with overwhelming intensity they can't control or avoid. During these nighttime hours, they experience the full weight of missing you without their usual psychological armor to protect them from the pain. The loneliness feels suffocating, the regret feels crushing, and the desire to reach out becomes almost unbearable. But their fear of your potential rejection or indifference keeps them frozen. This nighttime vulnerability creates a cycle where they feel closest to you when they're completely alone, experiencing phantom intimacy that makes your absence feel even more devastating. They can feel your energy, remember your touch, and hear your voice in their mind, but they can't translate that spiritual connection into actual contact. The phone in their hand, paralysis. They've typed and deleted hundreds of messages to you, composed late-night emails they'll never send, and stared at your contact information while being completely unable to press the call button. The distance between wanting to reach out and actually reaching out feels impossible to bridge, despite being technically simple. This paralysis stems from their terror that any contact attempt will confirm their worst fears, that you've moved on completely, that you don't want to hear from them, or that you'll respond with the same cold indifference they showed you. The possibility of experiencing the rejection they put you through feels more terrifying than continuing to suffer in silence. They rehearse conversations in their mind, imagine your potential responses, and create elaborate scenarios about what they would say if they could find the courage to make contact. But the gap between fantasy and action remains unbridgeable, because their fear of vulnerability overrides their desperate need for connection. The memory invasion experience. Every night they're bombarded with detailed memories of your time together that feel more real than their current reality. These memories arrive uninvited, with cinematic clarity that makes them feel like they're reliving moments when they felt safe, understood, and genuinely connected. These memory invasions include not just the good times, but crystal clear recollections of every moment they chose distance over closeness, every opportunity they had to love you better, and every sign you gave them that their behavior was hurting you. The memories serve as both comfort and torture. The vividness of these memories makes your absence feel fresh every single night, as if they're losing you over and over again. They're trapped in a psychological time loop where they repeatedly experience both the love they had and the loss they created through their own choices. The energetic connection recognition. Despite the physical distance and lack of communication, they feel an energetic connection to you that seems to intensify in the quiet hours when their defenses are down. This spiritual awareness of your presence makes them wonder if you can feel them thinking about you across whatever distance separates you. This energetic connection feels so real they sometimes wonder if you're having trouble sleeping too, if you're thinking about them at the same time they're thinking about you, or if the love that once connected you is still creating some kind of invisible bridge between your hearts. They interpret coincidences, dreams about you, or random thoughts of you as signs that the connection is mutual and ongoing, which gives them hope while simultaneously increasing their anguish about their inability to act on that feeling. The phantom relationship experience. In their minds, they maintain an ongoing relationship with you through imaginary conversations, fantasy reconciliations, and elaborate scenarios where they get to love you the way they should have loved you when they had the chance. This phantom relationship feels safer than attempting real contact. During these nighttime fantasy sessions, they can be the partner they always could have been but were too scared to be. They can be vulnerable, emotionally available, and completely devoted without risking actual rejection or having to face the reality of what their behavior has cost them. This phantom relationship provides temporary relief from their loneliness while simultaneously making their actual isolation feel more devastating. They're living in a fantasy world where they get to love you properly while being completely cut off from the real you. The self-protection prison. Their inability to reach out stems from the same psychological mechanisms that destroyed the relationship in the first place. Their inability to tolerate vulnerability, even when that vulnerability could lead to exactly what they want most. They're imprisoned by their own need for emotional safety. This self-protection has become a prison where they're trapped between their desperate need for you and their terror of risking the additional pain that reaching out unsuccessfully would create. They're choosing the certainty of current suffering over the uncertainty of potential rejection. Their fear of making things worse keeps them stuck in a situation that can't get better without risk. They're paralyzed by the possibility that contact might confirm their loss is permanent, rather than opening a door to reconnection. The hope and terror balance. Every night they oscillate between desperate hope that you might still care about them and paralyzing terror that you've moved on completely. This emotional seesaw keeps them in a state of psychological suspension where they can neither move forward nor reconnect with you. The hope keeps them emotionally attached and prevents them from accepting the loss and moving on, while the terror prevents them from taking action that might restore connection. They're trapped in limbo between holding on and letting go. The spiritual suffering. Their nightly experience of feeling you transcends normal missing someone. It feels like their soul is reaching for yours across whatever distance separates you, while their psychology keeps them locked in place. This spiritual suffering is deeper than missing your presence. It's missing their connection to their own capacity for love. They feel you every night with an intensity that proves their love was always real, but their terror of vulnerability keeps them trapped in a hell of their own making, where they can feel everything but do nothing about it.